Hello, my name is Dana Massey with RVs Northwest. I'm going to introduce you to the driver's side of the motorhome and how to hook it up at a campsite. But first, I'm going to start with the hitch. Very commonly, renters ask us if they can tow boats or vehicles behind the motorhome. While the motorhome has the capability to tow larger items, with a rental, we keep everything under 1,500 pounds for towing. So if you're towing a motorcycle, an ATV, or a golf cart, then absolutely you're welcome to tow it. Anything over 1,500 pounds is not something that we allow with rentals. So as we come around the side of the motorhome, the very first thing we're going to touch on is the compartment door. All of the compartments are labeled again on the key and on the lock. So C key, we're going to put it in. When you go to lock the compartment, you need to push on the compartment door and then turn the key. If you don't push on it, it won't latch properly. We always lock the key lock first and then the handle lock. And the reason that we're doing that is so that we can check to make sure that the key lock is actually locked. So then once we've checked, yes, it's locked, go ahead and turn the twist and lock the second lock. The reason that we're doing it this way and making sure so carefully that these compartment doors are locked is because a couple of years ago, I was driving down Highway 395 and I had forgotten to lock the key lock, and the latch actually wiggled itself open. The compartment door ripped off. It was up in front of the motorhome. I then ran over the compartment door. So then it was in the middle of Highway 395 as I'm running in the middle of traffic trying to save my compartment door. So really important that you make sure these compartment doors are locked before you travel. On the compartments, on these Mini Winnies, the rear compartment is a waterproof compartment. The rest of the storage compartments, however, are not waterproof. So make sure that any of your items that cannot get wet go into this compartment, and all the others can get wet. Now we get to hook it up. So the key piece, we want electrical, we want water, and we want a sewer hose because it's all got to go somewhere. So what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to start with the sewer hose. Just to give you a heads up, we bleach all of our sewer hoses. So when you're hooking the sewer hose up, if it's wet at all, just be careful of your clothing because we do bleach them. We do rinse them quite well too, but just in case. At the campsite, you're gonna find a dump receptacle. The dump receptacle is gonna look something like this. Sometimes it might be white or black with cement around it, but make sure to check with your campground host as to what one is exactly the dump receptacle. You then open this, the connector is right here. You're gonna drop that connector right down into that sewer hose, and it creates a nice solid place for that to sit. When you go to dump your tank, there is a little bit of pressure, so you wanna make sure to go ahead and hold that. And we'll get into dumping in just a minute. First, we're gonna hook it up. So the other end of the sewer hose, you'll notice has some teeth on it. Those teeth are gonna hook to nubs down here on the sewer connector. So with this one, you have a sewer cap on there, and that's gonna keep anything, just in case there was a little dribble or something. So when I go to hook the sewer hose up, what I do is I hold the sewer hose down below and I turn the cap. That way, if anything dribbles, it can dribble right down into that sewer hose. Remove the cap, get it out of your way, and you'll notice that there's nubs here. Those nubs are gonna hook right into the teeth of the sewer hose. So you put it on and turn it and lock it into place. You wanna make sure that's locked because when you dump your tanks and they're full, there's quite a lot of pressure in there, and you don't want that coming off. So make sure it's connected. Notice the handles are labeled with color coding, black and gray. Gray representing your shower water and your kitchen sink. Black representing your bathroom sink and your toilet water. Of course, the black being the dirtier. Therefore, you're gonna wanna dump the black first. Gray second to flush behind. Now, all of our rentals have absolutely the world's most fabulous feature on it, which is gonna be a black tank flush. And what that means is it's going to have high pressure sprayers that clean out the debris left in the black tank for you so that it keeps it clean and sanitary. The way that you hook up this black tank flush is you're going to grab the water hose. You're gonna hook the water hose to the spigot Then you're gonna go over here to the side of the motorhome where it says black waste tank flush, and you're gonna hook the hose right into there. When you do this process, make sure that black valve is open, because if the black valve is not open, the water has to go somewhere, and the only place for it to go is up in the motorhome. So the process of using the black tank flush, black valve open, then turn on your water and let it clean out the tank. I usually let that run for several minutes so that it gets any debris out. Then go ahead and pull your gray valve and dump that. Now, since we have the water hose here, let's go ahead and show you how to hook up the water at the campsite when you get to your campsite. So this is only for the black tank flush. This is not going to provide you water into the campsite or into the motorhome. So when you get to your campsite, you're going to hook the water hose to the spigot. You'll notice here there's a brass piece. This brass piece is a water pressure regulator that takes the water down to 45 psi so that it doesn't overpressurize the lines in the motorhome. The reason that we have electrical taped this piece to the hose is because we don't want you to have to remember where to disconnect the hose at your end of your camping trip. So we have electrical taped them together. That way they stay connected. When you connect, you're going to twist the orange piece to connect, and of course, undo the orange piece. The important piece to hooking up to the water is filling your water hose with water first. So, spigot on, away from you, or your friends, in case you want to get them wet, maybe you would put it on them. And you're going to let that water, let your hose fill up. As soon as you have water coming out the hose, turn it off and hold it up in the air. Now, the reason we're doing this is because you have 25 feet of air there. If you just hook this to the side of the motorhome, the very first faucet you go to turn on, it's just gonna spew all in your face, all the air and water. So we want it full of water first. Then we're gonna come over here to city fill. On the city fill, this is where we're gonna hook in the city source of water. This does not fill the tank. The only purpose of this is going directly into the water lines. So now you're gonna take your hose and you're gonna connect it here. Once you have that fully connected, go ahead and turn on the spigot, and you have water flowing to the motorhome. This will go directly into the hot water heater, the shower, the bathroom sink, the kitchen sink, the toilet, hit all of your water spots. Now we've got water, now we've got sewer, we have one little piece left, and that's electricity. So the compartment door that you're gonna look for that has the electrical cord in it has got the warning, the orange label on it. When you open up this compartment, you're gonna grab your electrical cord out. We use motorhomes that have 30 amp power in it. So your campsite, you wanna have a 30 amp outlet. You're gonna come on over here to the electrical box. You can always tell it's the electrical box because it's gray, and lift the lid up. Inside this electrical box, some campgrounds have all three, a 50 amp, a 30 amp, and a 20 amp outlet. Some may have one or the other. There's different variations. When you go to plug in, your 30 amp cord is going to go into the 30 amp outlet. Now, the important piece is, at this point in time, you may or may not have power going to the motorhome. And the reason is, a lot of campgrounds actually keep their breakers off when the campsite is not in use. So the next step after plugging in is to go ahead and select, you've got 20 amp for the 20 amp outlet, 30 amp for the 30 amp, and 50 amp for the 50 amp. We're using the 30, so we're gonna turn that breaker on. Now we have electricity going into the motorhome. We also provide you with an electrical adapter. The electrical adapter takes your power from 30 amp down to 110 or a 20 amp, which is your standard household outlet. Many people are going to plug in at a friend's house, or you might want to plug the motorhome in overnight while you're traveling, before you get traveling. That way you can make sure your batteries are all charged up. So the way that you're going to use this is, it's going to hook onto the end of your electrical cord with the 30 amp end, and then you can plug the 20 amp end into the 20 amp outlet. The most important piece to using this is you cannot run your air conditioner when you are plugged into an adapter down to a 20 amp outlet. And the reason being is it's too much power for the outlet. It could cause a fire in the motorhome and melt your cord and melt your plug. So don't run your air conditioner. You can run your microwave, you can run the TV, you can run everything else, just not the air conditioner. Another scenario that you might need power for is if you're dry camping. So if you're not hooked up at a campground and you're out in some field and you need generator power to run your TV, your microwave, your air conditioner, or something plugged into an outlet, this motorhome is featured with an outlet in the electrical compartment. That is where you will need to access the plug for the generator. Some motorhomes have an outlet and some motorhomes don't for the generator. So you'll know if you need to plug into an outlet for the generator if you see a 30 amp outlet in the electrical compartment. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna plug this cord right into that 30 amp outlet. This outlet has the power coming off of the generator. If you are not plugged into that outlet, you will not get any power off the generator. We get a lot of phone calls from renters saying, I'm running my generator and I don't have power. Usually it's because they're not plugged into this outlet. Not every motorhome has that outlet. So if you don't see the outlet in the electrical compartment, the same place as the electrical cord, then more than likely you don't need to plug in for the generator. Do this before putting the electrical cord in the compartment. Once you're plugged in, it's really easy to put the electrical cord away. And you just do that by simply stuffing it in. And then you can close your compartment door.